The galactic arena was older than most stars. It had been built to prove one truth again and again: conquered species were weak. Every world that lost a war sent a champion, or sometimes a victim, into the arena. The crowds came to watch fear. They came to hear screams. They came to be reminded of their power. On this day the stands were full. Bright lights floated above the massive stone floor. Tall walls curved upward, covered in old scars from past battles. The air hummed with machines hidden deep inside the arena. Creatures from hundreds of worlds filled the seats, their voices blending into a loud, cruel sound. At the center gate the announcer paused. "There has been a change," the voice said, calm and sharp. "The conquered world of Earth has sent its representative." The crowd leaned forward. The gate opened. A small human child stepped out. James was barely 10 years old. He was thin. His clothes were simple and worn. His hands were empty. He stood still, blinking under the harsh lights, trying to understand where he was. For a moment there was silence. Then the laughter began. It rolled through the arena like a storm. Some laughed loudly. Others pointed. Some shook their heads in disbelief. A child. A human child. This was supposed to be entertainment. "Is this a joke?" someone shouted. "They did not even send a fighter. Humans are weaker than we thought." High above, behind a clear barrier, Emily stood frozen. Her hands were pressed together so tightly her fingers hurt. She could barely breathe. Beside her, Michael stared straight ahead, his face pale and hard. "They said they would choose," Emily whispered. "They said it had to be fair." Michael did not answer. His jaw was tight. He had argued. He had begged. But the council did not care. Earth had lost the war. Earth had no rights here. James had been chosen because he was small. Because he was quiet. Because he had survived things no child should have survived. The council believed this would hurt humanity more than any weapon. The gate slammed shut behind James. The sound echoed like a final warning. James flinched and turned. He walked to the gate and touched the cold metal. It did not move. He pressed his ear against it as if hoping to hear a voice he knew. There was nothing. He stepped back slowly. The floor beneath him shifted. Lines of light appeared, spreading outward. The arena was waking up. James looked around. His heart was beating fast, but he did not scream. He did not cry. He remembered what his mother had once told him during a storm on Earth. "Fear is loud," she had said. "But you don't have to listen to it." He took a small breath. From the far side of the arena, something moved. The stone wall opened and a shape slid into the light. It was a training beast, often used to test new species. Large, fast, and sharp in every way. The crowd cheered. James backed away slowly. His shoes scraped against the stone. He looked for places to hide, for corners, for anything that could help him. He did not rush. He watched. The beast charged. James ran. He did not run straight. He turned suddenly, just as the beast struck where he had been. The stone cracked. Dust filled the air. James fell, rolled, and got back up. His knee hurt, but he did not stop. Emily gasped. She reached out as if she could pull him back through the glass. Michael whispered, "Move, James. Keep moving." The beast turned again. Was confused. Most prey screamed. Most prey froze. This one did neither. James ran toward a fallen pillar. At the last moment he slid behind it. The beast slammed into the stone. There was a sharp sound. The beast howled and pulled back, stunned. The crowd quieted slightly. "That should not have worked," someone said. The arena systems adjusted. New traps activated. The floor split open in places. Heat rose from hidden vents. This was meant to end quickly. James felt the heat and moved away from it. He stayed near the shadows. He remembered games he used to play in broken buildings back on Earth. Hide. Wait. Listen. Time passed. The beast grew tired. James grew tired too, but he kept going. He did not attack. He did not challenge. He survived. High above, a small warning light blinked in the control room. "Minor delay," an operator said. "The subject is still active." The overseer frowned. "Increased difficulty." Inside the arena, the lights dimmed. New sounds echoed. The systems searched for fear, for panic, for the breaking point they always found. They did not find it. James crouched behind the pillar, his chest rising and falling. His hands shook, but he pressed them against the stone to steady himself. He did not know why this was happening. He only knew he wanted to go home. Emily closed her eyes, tears slipping down her face. Michael placed a hand on the glass. "Please," Emily whispered. "Please." The crowd was no longer laughing. Many leaned forward now, silent, watching closely. This was not how it was supposed to go. James stood again. The arena watched him. And for the first time in its long history, the arena did not know how to finish the match. Inside the arena, time began to stretch in strange ways. Minutes felt long, then short, then long again. The lights shifted without pattern and the air grew heavy. The arena had been designed to push fighters into rage, to make them reckless. It waited for James to shout, to strike, to break. He did none of those things. James moved slowly now. Not because he was weak, but because he had learned. He listened to the sounds around him. He watched the floor before every step. He stayed close to the walls where shadows softened the bright light. His breathing was quiet. His eyes stayed wide and alert. He was afraid, but he did not let fear lead him. Another gate opened across the arena. A second beast emerged, larger than the first. Its skin was dark and thick. Its eyes glowed with hunger. The crowd stirred again, expecting the end. James saw the beast and stopped moving. He did not run right away. Instead he waited. The beast stepped forward, then paused. It sniffed the air. Its claws scraped the stone, but it did not charge. It tilted its head, watching the small human in front of it. James slowly stepped back, careful not to make sudden moves. He kept his eyes on the beast, but not in a challenging way. He remembered how animals on Earth reacted. Loud movements scared them. Calm sometimes confused them. The beast growled, low and uncertain. Then, without warning, the floor between them dropped away. A pit opened, deep and dark. The trap was meant for James. But James had already stopped. He stood at the edge, his toes just inches from the drop. The beast, still focused on him, took one more step. It fell. The sound echoed as the beast vanished into the pit. The floor sealed shut again as if nothing had happened. The crowd went silent. High above, in a room filled with screens and data, David leaned closer to his display. He was a systems observer from a neutral world. His job was simple. Watch the arena, confirm results, report nothing unusual. He frowned. That trap activated early, he said. Beside him, Jessica checked her own screen. She was human, but she worked under council rules. Her face was calm, but her eyes moved quickly. It shouldn't have, she said. The timing was wrong. David tapped a control panel. Numbers flashed. The system predicted the child's movement incorrectly. Jessica glanced at the main feed where James stood alone on the arena floor. He didn't move the way it expected, she said softly. Inside the arena, James backed away from the sealed pit. His legs felt weak, but he stayed upright. He pressed his back against the wall and slid down until he was sitting. He hugged his knees to his chest for a moment, catching his breath. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He rested. The arena lights flickered. A new set of traps activated. Thin beams of energy swept across the floor in slow patterns. Anyone caught by them would be burned. The crowd murmured again, uneasy now. James stood and watched the beams. He noticed their rhythm. Left to right. Pause. Right to left. Pause. He waited. When the beams moved away, he stepped forward. When they returned, he stopped. Step by step, he crossed the open space. His movements were small and careful. His patience was stronger than the machines expected. Behind the glass, Emily whispered, "He's thinking." Michael nodded once. He always did. The arena sent another challenge. A third beast appeared, smaller but faster. It darted forward, testing the air. This one did not hesitate. It rushed James with sharp cries. James ran, but not in panic. He led the beast toward a narrow space between broken pillars. He slipped through easily. The beast followed, but its larger body scraped the stone. It slowed. It stumbled. James climbed. He grabbed a crack in the pillar and pulled himself up. His hands burned. His arms shook. But he climbed high enough to be out of reach. The beast snapped its jaws below him, frustrated. Then it stopped. It looked up at James. Its eyes locked with his. For a long moment, neither moved. Then the beast turned away. A wave of noise spread through the arena, not laughter this time, but confusion. Beasts were trained to kill. They did not turn away. In the control room, alarms blinked. Behavior mismatch, a voice said. David stood now, fully focused. That's the third error. Jessica crossed her arms. The system can't read him, she said. It looks for aggression. He isn't giving it any. David shook his head slowly. No species has ever survived like this. Inside the arena, James climbed down when the beast left. His hands were scraped. His knee ached. He felt tired deep inside, the kind of tired that made everything feel heavy. Still he kept going. The arena tried again. Heat vents opened. Then closed. Walls shifted, then stopped. Traps triggered too early or too late. Each time James adjusted. He learned faster than the arena could change. Minutes turned into hours. The crowd had gone quiet. Many had stopped cheering entirely. Some had left their seats. Others stayed, unable to look away. James sat near the wall again, drinking from a small water pipe that had somehow opened when he pressed against it. He didn't question it. He drank slowly, then wiped his mouth. Above, Jessica stared at her screen. "A water source activated without command," she said. David's voice was low. "That's not possible." They watched as James rested, alive, unbroken. The arena had been built to crush hope. Instead, it was learning something new. And it did not like it. Time lost its meaning inside the arena. The lights no longer followed a clear cycle. Shadows stretched where they should not. The stone floor showed new cracks, not from battle but from strain. The arena was changing slowly and quietly, as if it were unsure of itself. James felt it before he saw it. The air felt different. Not warmer or colder but tense. Like the moment before a storm. He stood near the wall, one hand resting on the rough stone. His fingers brushed over marks left by others long ago. He wondered who they were. He wondered if they had been scared too. He was tired. His body ached. His stomach hurt with hunger. But inside, something steady remained. He did not know its name. He only knew he was still himself. The arena opened another gate. Nothing came out. The gate stayed open for several seconds, then closed again. The crowd made a low sound, confused and restless. This had never happened before. A challenge was always ready. Pain was always ready. James waited. He did not move toward the gate. He did not run away from it. He simply stood and watched, breathing slow and even. High above, in a quiet observation chamber far from the main control room, John leaned back in his chair. He was an analyst from a neutral world, trained to see patterns, not emotions. Screens floated around him, filled with data streams and visual feeds. "This doesn't make sense," he said. Across from him, Ashley adjusted her display. She was younger, sharp-eyed, and calm. "It does," she replied. "Just not in the way they expected." John frowned. "The arena is designed to respond to resistance. Strength. Violence. Fear." Ashley nodded. "Yes. And he's giving it none of those." They watched James stand alone on the arena floor. No weapon. No armor. No rage. "The system keeps escalating," John said. "But it's also hesitating." Ashley pointed to a line of data. "Look here. Response delays are increasing. Decision loops are repeating." John leaned forward. It stuck. Inside the arena, the lights dimmed again. A low sound filled the space, deep and heavy, like a distant heartbeat. The walls shifted slightly, then stopped. Panels along the floor lifted, then lowered again. James felt the vibration under his feet. He crouched, placing one hand on the ground. He stayed still. He remembered sitting on the floor back home during power cuts, listening to the house settle, waiting for the lights to come back. The vibration faded. Nothing attacked him. Minutes passed. The crowd had fallen into near silence now. Many faces showed discomfort. This was no longer fun. This was not control. This was waiting. James slowly stood and walked across the arena. He did not hurry. He did not hide. He moved as if the space belonged to him, even though he knew it did not. As he walked, small changes followed him. Lights softened slightly. Sharp sounds faded. The air felt less harsh. These were small things, almost unnoticeable, but they were real. In the control network, alerts stacked up. Environmental drift detected. Behavioral prediction failure. Core logic feedback loop unstable. Operators argued. Commands were set. Overrides were attempted. Nothing fully worked. John watched the data streams twist into strange shapes. "The arena is adapting to him," he said slowly. Ashley shook her head. "No," she said. "It's failing to adapt. There's a difference." James reached the center of the arena and sat down. The crowd gasped softly. No one had ever done that before. He sat with his legs crossed, his hands resting in his lap. His head lowered slightly, not in defeat but in rest. His eyes closed for a moment. The arena scanned him. Heart rate elevated but steady. Stress present but controlled. No aggression detected. No surrender detected. The system did not know what to do with that. A new creature was prepared in the holding chambers. Orders were sent to release it. The gate mechanisms engaged. Then stopped. The gate did not open. In the network, signals collided. Safety protocols clashed with combat directives. The arena had rules, ancient and strict, But they were built on one idea: opponents must oppose. James was not opposing. He was enduring. Emily watched from behind the glass, barely daring to breathe. Michael stood beside her, his hands clenched, his eyes fixed on the small figure below. "He's still there?" Emily whispered. Michael nodded. "He is." Inside the arena, James opened his eyes. He looked up at the stands, at the countless faces staring down at him. He did not know who they were. He did not care what they thought. He simply wanted this to end. The arena responded. Lights flickered across the walls, then went dark in sections. Sounds cut out and returned in uneven bursts. The temperature shifted without command. Systems began shutting down parts of themselves, trying to stabilize. John's screen filled with red warnings. "It's shutting down its own control paths," he said. Ashley's voice was quiet. "Because it can't process him." John looked at her. "He's not winning." Ashley met his gaze. "No. He's refusing to lose." In the arena, a final challenge was attempted. The floor beneath James opened suddenly, a wide pit dropping away. James fell. The crowd cried out. But the pit stopped after a short distance. Safety systems engaged automatically. James landed hard but alive on a lower platform. He groaned, rolled to his side and slowly pushed himself up. The system had tried to kill him. It had failed again. James sat there breathing heavily. Tears filled his eyes, not from fear but from exhaustion. He wiped them away with his sleeve and stood. Above him, parts of the arena ceiling went dark. One by one, systems powered down. The arena had always broken those inside it. Now it was breaking itself. And James, small and quiet, stood at the center of it all, still unbroken. The signal to stop the match finally came, sharp and loud, cutting through the arena like a blade. Sirens echoed where cheers once lived. Red lights flashed along the walls and seats. The crowd stirred in sudden panic. "The match is suspended," the announcer said, voice tight and unsure. "All systems stand by." Inside the arena, James stood still. He did not cheer. He did not fall to his knees. He only looked around as the noise changed, as the space that had hunted him now seemed afraid of itself. The floor beneath him stopped moving. The air vents shut down. The low hum that had followed him for hours faded into silence. James felt the quiet settle. High above, Daniel watched with wide eyes. He was a senior recorder, tasked with preserving events for the Galactic Archive. His hands moved fast over his console, capturing every second. Beside him, Lauren adjusted recording angles, her face pale. "It's locking," she said. Daniel nodded. "I see it." Across their screens, ancient symbols lit up. Doors that had not moved in centuries began to close. Heavy mechanisms slid into place, slow but final. The arena was sealing itself. "Manual override?" Lauren asked, though she already knew the answer. Daniel tried anyway. His console flashed once, then went dark. "Denied," he said quietly. By the arena itself. Below, massive gates slammed shut one by one. Stone met stone with deep, echoing booms. Dust fell from the ceiling. The arena was not just ending the match. It was ending its purpose. James flinched at the sound, then relaxed when nothing followed. He looked up as lights dimmed across the stands. Many of the watching species stood now, confused and uneasy. This place had always obeyed. It had never refused. Voices rose. "This is unacceptable. Restart the systems. The human must be removed." Council members argued from their platforms. Orders were shouted. Threats were made. But none of it reached the arena's core. The doors kept sealing. In the control chambers, systems went offline one by one. Power rerouted, then cut. The arena isolated itself from the wider network, locking out commands, blocking access. Lauren swallowed hard. "It's protecting him," she said. Daniel did not answer right away. He watched James on the main feed. The child stood alone, small against the vast stone floor, calm despite everything. "No," Daniel said finally. "It's protecting itself. From us." Inside the arena, a final platform lowered from above. It stopped a short distance from James. A soft light surrounded it, gentle and steady. James approached carefully. He touched the surface with one hand. It was warm. He stepped onto it. The platform rose slowly, lifting him away from the floor that had tried to break him. As he rose, the crowd watched in stunned silence. No one spoke. No one laughed. Emily pressed both hands to her mouth. Tears streamed freely now. Michael closed his eyes, his shoulders shaking once before he forced himself still. "He's coming back," Emily whispered. The platform reached the upper level and stopped. A hatch opened. James stepped through, blinking as softer lights greeted him. A human medic rushed forward, then froze, unsure if it was safe. James looked up at them. "I'm tired," he said softly. That was all. Behind him the hatch closed. The platform lowered again, returning to the empty arena floor. Then it stopped. Deep within the structure, the final seals engaged. Ancient locks turned for the first time in recorded history. Massive doors fused shut, systems powered down completely, and the arena went dark. Forever. Daniel's recording console came back online just long enough to save the final file. He stared at the confirmation message. "Archive complete," it read. Lauren leaned back, exhaling slowly. "No one will ever open it again." Daniel nodded. "No one will dare." Across the galaxy the recordings spread. Not the screams. Not the violence. But the image of a small human child standing calm while the greatest weapon of fear shut itself down. Worlds watched in silence. Some felt shame. Others felt fear. Many felt something new. Respect. James was returned to his people quietly. There were no celebrations. No speeches. Just arms around him, warm blankets, and a promise that he would never be alone again. Far away the arena remained sealed, dark and silent. And across the stars one image stayed alive. A calm human child. Unbroken. The days after the arena closed felt strange across the galaxy. News moved faster than ships. Screens filled with the same image again and again. A small human child standing calm while an ancient place of fear shut itself down. The Galactic Council met in silence. The chamber was wide and cold, built to make voices echo. Seats filled slowly. Many members avoided looking at one another. Some looked angry. Others looked afraid. At the center the record played. James stood on the stone floor. He did not shout. He did not fight. He simply remained. The record ended. No one spoke for a long moment. Finally a counselor rose. "The arena is no longer functional," they said. "It cannot be repaired." Another stood. "It has served its purpose for ages." A third replied quietly, "Its purpose has failed." Arguments followed. Some demanded punishment. Others called it an accident. A few wanted the arena reopened somewhere else, rebuilt stronger. But each time the image returned to the screen, the room fell quiet again. The arena had not been destroyed. It had refused. Daniel stood at the edge of the chamber, holding the final archive seal. Lauren stood beside him, her hands clasped tightly. "The record is complete," Daniel said. "Nothing is missing." A counselor asked, "Can it be erased?" Lauren answered before Daniel could. "It can," she said. "But it won't be forgotten." That truth settled heavy in the room. At last the highest counselor spoke. "The arena will be removed from official history," they said. "No new records. No future use. It will be marked as a closed relic." Pause. "And humanity?" another asked. The word carried weight. "They were classified as prey," someone said. "That classification no longer fits." The counselor nodded slowly. "Change it." Screens updated across the chamber. A single line shifted in the vast system. "Humanity, enduring." No cheers followed. No applause. Just quiet agreement. Far from the council chamber, a human ship traveled through calm space. It was not large. It carried no weapons worth noting. Inside lights were soft and low. James sat on a simple bed, wrapped in a blanket. His feet barely touched the floor. A medic knelt nearby, checking readings, careful and gentle. "How do you feel?" she asked. James thought for a moment. "Okay," he said. Emily sat close, her hand resting near his shoulder, not touching unless he asked. Michael stood by the door, watching, making sure the room felt safe. James looked at them. "Can we go home now?" Emily smiled through tired eyes. "Yes," she said. "We're going home." James nodded and lay back. He closed his eyes, not from fear but from rest. He slept. When the ship reached Earth space, there were no crowds waiting. No banners. No speeches. The return was quiet by choice. James stepped onto familiar ground. The air smelled right. The sky felt open. He took a slow breath and relaxed his shoulders. People greeted him softly. Family. Friends. Faces he knew. Arms wrapped around him, careful and warm. He did not talk about the arena. No one forced him to. Days passed. James returned to simple things. Drawing pictures. Sitting outside. Listening to the wind move through trees. Sometimes he woke from dreams, breathing fast, but he always calmed again. He was still James. Across the galaxy things changed. Species that had once mocked humans now watched them closely. Not with anger but with caution. Trade talks shifted tone. Military plans were rewritten. Old assumptions were questioned. Some worlds tried to dismiss the event. It was only a child, they said. Others answered, exactly. John and Ashley released their final analysis to neutral archives. It did not focus on strength or weapons. It focused on behavior. The subject did not seek victory, Ashley recorded. He sought survival without surrender. John added, systems built on fear cannot process endurance. The report spread. The sealed arena drifted alone in space. No ships approached it. Sensors showed no activity. The doors remained locked, ancient mechanisms fused in place. Travelers avoided the region. Stories grew. Some said the arena slept. Others said it watched. Most agreed on one thing: it was done. James grew a little older. Life moved on. He went to school. He laughed with friends. Sometimes he sat quietly and looked at the sky. When asked if he remembered the arena, he nodded once. It was loud, he said. Then it wasn't. That was all. The galaxy adjusted to a new truth. Power was no longer measured only by force. Fear was no longer enough. Some spirits could not be broken. Some systems could not understand that. And so they failed.